Virtua Fighter is the avatar of video games. It was a global phenomenon that not only brought on an onslaught of 3D fighting games, but it literally changed the entire games industry by shifting every developer's gaze, no matter what genre, towards 3D graphics. The characters' accessories move with a revolutionary real-time physics engine and fall off when they get knocked down. The attack animations are still absolutely stunning to this day, even compared to modern fighting games like Mortal Kombat 1, showing that Netherrealms really should have hired animators by now. For Virtua Fighter 2, released just 1 year later, they literally spent $2 million on a Lockheed Martin graphics processor used in military simulations just so they could invent fully texture-mapped 3D characters, and push the bar even further when it came to its highly detailed environment and its pioneering use of motion-captured animations. Now, it was clear. Virtua Fighter would consistently set the benchmark for graphics with each new game, debuting cutting-edge technology years before they would become industry standard, and many of gaming's biggest titles, hardware, and every single modern 3D game owes their very existence to Virtua Fighter. It's that important to video games, and its last entry came out in 2005. Virtua Fighter, for all intents and purposes, has always been seen by the wider gaming populace as a series of glorified tech demos. The games are almost disposable for 99% of casual players, as select developers would eventually catch up graphically, and by the early 2000s, they all did. This meant that Virtua Fighter had to rely on things such as its characters rather than its graphics to attract consumers. But the characters in these games are more bland than Cheerios. They literally went, we have a Chinese girl as a playable character, what do we make her theme song? It doesn't help that the little story these games have isn't even in the games themselves. You get to the end of arcade mode and the game just ends. No character endings like in Street Fighter, no ending cutscenes like in Tekken. The only way to find out what a character's story was is to open up the game's manual. You may think none of this is important to a game seemingly about mashing buttons, but fighting games literally are their characters. They're the very first thing you see when putting your coin into the machine, so it doesn't matter that Tekken 3 looks about as good as Virtua Fighter 2, despite the latter coming out 3 years earlier, because who would you rather play? The big-eyebrowed, duckbill-haired devil man with a warm smile and daddy issues? The burly wrestler with a jaguar mask who protects orphan children? The jacked-up action figure like Creepy Robot? The blonde spy woman with an intense sibling rivalry? And the literal grizzly bear trained by a martial arts master? Or a blue ninja? Tekken, with every new entry, changed each character's story and overall appearance drastically, whilst every character in Virtua Fighter, in every single entry spanning 15 years, has stayed almost exactly the same design-wise. It left the series solely reliant on its cutting-edge graphics to gain attention, and when advancements in graphics became less and less impressive, Virtua Fighter had nothing. So although it was a series absolutely critical to the evolution of games as a medium, it, because of a lack of recognisable characters and lore, left no cultural impact whatsoever. That's why it's the avatar of video games, and it's why we haven't seen a completely new entry in almost 20 years. However, that may be about to change. Virtua Fighter 5 has had multiple revisions released over the years. We had the original game released in 2006 on PS3, VF5 Final Showdown released in 2012 for the PS3 with a rebalanced cast and shitty online, and then Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown in 2021, a complete remake of Final Showdown rebuilt from the ground up in the Yakuza engine. And this game apparently did very well, way above Sega's expectations, and with Sega announcing they are looking to bring back some of their older franchises, the rumour mill for a Virtua Fighter 6 has started propping up with some rather tinfoil hatty evidence to go along with it. Now, if this is true and Sega are working on a Virtua Fighter 6, they're going to have their work cut out for them, because the gaming landscape has changed tremendously over the last 20 years alone, and Virtua Fighter stopped being relevant in the mid-90s. So Sega will definitely have to almost reinvent Virtua Fighter, because, whoa, nice graphics, I'd like to get my hands on that game, isn't going to work too well in 2023. If VF6 exists, it's probably been put into the hands of Ryuga Gotoku Studio, since they made the 2021 remake. So I'm not too worried, because that studio also created the Yakuza series, games with a track record of intriguing plot lines and likeable characters that are immediately recognisable visually while still being relatively grounded. It's almost a perfect fit. The gameplay of Virtua Fighter has a ton to offer to casual and competitive players alike. It just needs to be wrapped in visuals and characters that people can actually connect with. Just imagine a Yakuza game but with Virtua Fighter combat and versus modes. Maybe if we had that, people would actually care who Jeffrey is. Thanks to my patrons on Patreon for making this video possible, including my anonymous patron, and leave a like and comment down below if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you, bye!